Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to address an email I got from a viewer, and it's about background checks and waiting periods, most specifically waiting periods. I have come out many times and said, I am not a supporter of background checks. I don't think they do any good, and I think they're an infringement. Same thing with waiting periods, although I don't really mention waiting periods as often, but I am totally against them. And I say that because this email from a viewer, which I can't read to you because I forgot to print it out and bring it with me, so I'll paraphrase, said, I see that you are anti-background check. Don't you think that that costs people's lives, especially waiting periods where you have to wait to pick your gun up? They were like, surely you're a reasonable person and you can see that waiting periods save lives, right? Well, to answer that, no, I don't see that. I have looked into that quite a bit, but I've never seen any evidence that waiting periods save any lives. Now, one thing I have seen evidence of is that sometimes people die while waiting to receive their gun due to a waiting period. I was able to find multiple circumstances of it. So anyone who's interested, do a web search. Lady in New Jersey, lazy in New Mexico. States that have new in front of them. That just seems dangerous. But a California incident where a woman was waiting, trying to get a permit, trying to get a gun. And while she was waiting on the sheriff's office to respond, he killed her in her driveway 3 days after she tried to purchase a gun. So I see evidence everywhere that background checks deny honest, law-abiding citizens the ability to defend themselves. I see proof that background checks can be deadly, but I've never seen any proof that background checks or waiting periods stop anybody. Are we supposed to believe that the guy who decided that that's it, I've had it with my ex-wife, I'm going to kill her, or that's it, I want to marry my mistress and I need to get rid of my wife, I'm going to kill her, that if he has to wait 5 days for his gun, he's going to be like, well, fuck, I got to wait 5 days. I've been planning this for a year and I got to wait another 5 days. I'm not going to do it now. No, if they're planning out something like that, 5 days ain't going to stop them. And plus, not having a gun wouldn't stop them usually. So waiting periods really don't do anything. I haven't seen any proof that they do anything. Period. Even the most anti-gun groups in the country, like the gun policy, whatever they call themselves, when they do studies to try to prove that, background check saves lives, waiting period saves lives, gun laws save lives, the most they can ever come out with is inconclusive, or there's moderate evidence that there might be a correlation. That's basically all they get. So they have to focus on other aspects because they really can't say, oh yeah, we found proof that crime rates are severely affected, or anyone is actually stopped from committing a crime, or anyone's life is saved by waiting periods or background checks. So to me, I'm not an absolutist. I'm not Sith. Only the Sith deal in absolutes, which I guess is kind of an absolute. But although if I was going to be a Jedi or a Sith, I know I'd be a Sith. I mean, I don't fool myself into thinking I'm going to be the good guy. It's like people say, if you got superpowers, would you be a good guy or a villain? I'm going to be the villain. At best, I would be an anti-hero on my best day. But I'm getting off topic here. Went down a little bit of a nerd alley there. Like I said, these agencies that are anti-gun out the butt, they can't find any proof to support their ideas. And like I said, I'm not an absolutist. If you could show me proof that a minor infringement would save lives, I might consider it. Or at very least, I would push for an amendment, to allow whatever thing it was that was shown to save lives to be done. Then if we couldn't get that amendment, well, then we couldn't get it, but we'd try. But like I said, never seen the evidence. Which makes me wonder, the people that do support background checks and waiting periods, and they do their own studies, these biased studies where they skew it towards the results they want and still can't get the results they want, yet they still continue to pursue the same paths, the same types of restrictions, the same ideology on how to stop gun violence or violence in general. That seems like madness to me. I mean, I'm all for trying things. Believe me, I'll try anything once, sometimes twice, because, $20 is $20. But if you do the same thing again, and it never gives you the result you want, but you continue to think that doing it more will get you the result you want, that's, like I said, that's madness. That's not logical. You're making your decisions based on dogma there. Your anti-gun dogma. Because you can't accept reality. When you can't prove what you're trying to prove, and then you pass laws to show people that what you're saying is true, and those laws don't do anything, they have no effect on anything, wouldn't you abandon that practice? I mean, if you were trying to do that for any other thing, let's say, I bet my car will run better if I mix a little maple syrup in the gas. Make it sweeter. And then you do that a couple of times and your engine blows up. Wouldn't you stop doing that? Or would you be like, the problem was I didn't put enough maple syrup in the tank? But that's what the anti-gunners continue to do. And no, it doesn't save lives. There's no proof of that. I'm willing to hear it from people who think they can prove it. And here's the thing, an anecdote doesn't prove it. Anecdotes are outliers, if they even happen. On the internet, most anecdotes never really happened. If you didn't see it yourself, don't really believe it half the time. Or if you don't see after the fact proof of it, don't believe it half the time. But an anecdote doesn't prove the rule. If you could say, well, I know one person who was going to kill his wife, but he had a 5-day waiting period, so he decided, screw it. Well, that still wouldn't prove that it's worthwhile. That's an outlier event. There's if we based everything we do on outlier events, if we violated people's rights on outlier events, well, all cars would have breathalyzers on them. You wouldn't be allowed to do dangerous sports or activities. No one could play football, because there's just too much danger involved. So it just doesn't make sense, their reasoning. I know I'm getting a little off track here, but it doesn't make sense, their reasoning. So I don't support background checks. I don't support waiting periods. And you might think that they save lives. And they might save one or two anecdotally. But that doesn't justify violating the rights of every citizen. If someone is mad enough that I'm going to go buy a gun, I'm going to shoot everybody I know, well, they'll probably still be that mad 5 days from now. And if they're not, well then, good. But it doesn't prove that stops anything. Like I said, you're not actually proving that was stopped by the waiting period. You're just saying by the time they bought the gun and got home, they might not have done it. There's a big difference between saying I'm going to do something and doing it. And like I say, there's been no proof of any of that. There's not even really anecdotal examples of it working. So even though I'm giving them as much benefit of the doubt here as I can, trying to create scenarios where it could possibly work, because I'm trying to see your side of it, I just don't see it. I don't see the evidence. If you've got evidence, show it to me. But as of right now, I'm going to have to stick to my guns and say, background checks, waiting periods, all they are is an infringement on the rights of citizens that produces no positive outcome for society. And since that is true, in my mind, I'm going to have to say, I do not believe in them, I do not support them, and I think they should go away. All right, everybody, with that being said, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today I want to talk about a subject that I have spoken about before, but I received an email on it the other day after I said that I open carry a lot nowadays. Well, someone left me a comment and sent me an email saying, you say you open carry, but I just see you using leather holsters. I don't see you using retention holsters or safety holsters, whatever you want to call them. And I said, no, I don't use them. I don't think they're necessary. Well, and that person was like, he responded to me, someone's going to come up behind you and pull your gun out of your holster. And I just think a lot of people have a misconception about how easy that is to do. If you've got a good holster, that's not going to happen really. Holsters are not designed to give the gun up easily, especially not at an awkward angle. In fact, not too long ago, I did a video where I showed my son and his friend, Carson, trying to pull my gun out of my holster from coming up behind me and yanking it out quickly. And they didn't fare too well. So let me show you that again here, and you'll see it's not as easy as you think. Okay, here, let's look at how easy it actually is to yank someone's gun out of their holster from behind when they're standing somewhere. Let's say I'm standing somewhere I would normally be standing, like, oh, I don't know, maybe church. And in this scenario, I'm even going to cross my hands in front of my stomach to give them more access to my gun, not just to cover up my belly, but to give them better access to the gun and let you see still how they fail to get the gun out of my holster. The way holsters are designed, if you're not pulling up and forward, it's really hard to get a gun out of them, especially if it's a well-fit holster. That's why I always say, make sure your holster fits your gun. Doesn't have to be like, a retention holster with a strap and a button and all this other stuff. It just has to fit your gun. If it fits your gun, they're going to have a hard time getting that out of there. If it's not some cheap nylon holster, if it's leather, if it's Kydex, if it's something like that, if it's just a decent holster made for your gun specifically and not 50 other guns also, they're going to have real trouble getting that gun out of your holster before you can react. And in these situations, I'm not even reacting. I'm letting them pull until they about pull me down. And they still did not get the gun out of the holster even once. So if you think it's real easy to pull a gun out of a holster, try to pull your own gun out of your holster at a weird angle. It doesn't really work. You have to pull up and forward to get them out easily. So that whole notion of someone's going to come right behind you and snatch your gun, that's just not happening. How easily would it have been for me to, bam, elbow one of these kids in the face before they ever even got close to getting my gun out of the holster? They've been real easy. So there you have it. Two strong teenage boys coming at me from behind, not in that way that you're thinking right now, you dirty-minded bastards, but coming up behind me trying to yank my gun out of my holster. And they didn't succeed. And I told them, pull straight up, pull out, pull as hard as you can. Still, they didn't succeed, not once. So that goes to show you, it's really not as likely as you think, especially not if you're paying attention. So if you've got a good fitted leather holster, I really wouldn't worry about someone coming up from behind and taking your gun. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today with our viewer EDC of the day, which we haven't done in a while. And today we have Peter D. And Peter is carrying his GP100 7-shot 357 Magnum. And he has his Hogue Piranha textured G10 grips on there. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was an Alaskan because of that big grip. That big grip made that little stubby barrel look even smaller. I'm sure he's heard that a lot, that, oh, the grip makes it look even smaller. Which is odd because his last name is a reference to an erect male penis. So, which is a shame. But, so it's a shame to have such a tiny barrel and have that last name. But that's beside the point. Nice carry gun. I mean, I always love a good revolver. And a 7-shot 357 Magnum Ruger, how can you get much better than that? The only way I'd say you get better was a 586 L-Comp or a 686. But if you like Ruger better, you'd consider this as better. And those grips, they might seem big, but really going to make the gun manageable. So kudos to Peter D and what he carries there. Good choice. As far as I'm concerned, you got my full support there with your 7-shot 357 Magnum revolver. So, right there we have it, our viewer EDC of the day, Peter D, and his GP100 7-shot 357 Magnum. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back again, not tomorrow, because tomorrow is the weekend, and I don't do these shows on the weekend, although I might be doing a special car video tomorrow. So keep your eyes open for that. But otherwise, I'll see you back here again on Monday. And until then, I'll sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world is concerned today, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, trust me. But it could be better. And if we as a community start to ignore the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the ones that want to pretend like they're serving the community when they're really only serving the industry and all the dollars they can put in their pockets, if we start ignoring them, what things will be for people that love the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.